This Sunday we celebrate the baptism of Jesus, and with it, for some, the formal end of Christmastime. On this day, the words of a psalm that's been called the Psalm of Seven Thunders and believed to be one of the oldest psalms is proclaimed. Here are some of the lyrics. The Lord's voice resounding on the waters, the voice of the Lord full of power, the voice of the Lord full of splendour, the God of glory thunders. The voice of the Lord shatters cedar trees, the voice of the Lord ignites fire, the voice of the Lord convulses the wilderness, the voice of the Lord strips forests bare. Maybe you've heard of Russell Watson, otherwise known as The Voice. I guess he's called that because he has a particularly powerful one. He's one big voice. I don't know if he could shatter a glass with his singing, but the human voice, it seems, really can shatter glass. Nothing compared to the voice of God. When that voice sounds, trees are shattered, the ground convulses, lightning shafts are carved out in the sky, forests are stripped bare, and it roars like deafening thunder. It's like a terrifying megastorm unleashed. And the psalm lyrics are about the raw power of the voice of God. For the ancient Hebrew mind, the natural event was itself the word of God. The thunder is God's voice, and in the psalm it is shattering in its destructive power. Even though we like to think we're a bit more sophisticated these days, we might still occasionally hear someone say, when it's raining, for example, God must be very sad about something. Or in a thunder and lightning storm, God must be very angry. It's a primitive, childlike, seemingly superstitious view of things. Or is it? We still say nature is the first word of God. There are in fact 11 verses in the psalm describing these effects of God's voice, but right at the end of this terrifying display of power are the words which form the little response to the psalm. The Lord will bless his people with peace. Of course, you'd need a bit of peace if your world was literally ripped apart and shaken to its foundations, as in the psalm. Storms don't only refer to natural disasters, after all. When I was thinking about all this, a song came back to my mind that I knew from my Baptist days. Words to a song written in the late 19th century by a man called Horatio Spafford, and eventually set to music by another man called Philip Bliss. Horatio was a successful lawyer in the Chicago area of the United States and a committed Christian. He was married to Anna. They had 5 children, 4 girls and a little boy also called Horatio. In 1871, little Horatio died from scarlet fever. Later that same year was an event called the Great Chicago Fire that destroyed vast swathes of the city, including all of Horatio Spafford's property, belongings and life savings. They set about trying to rebuild their lives, part of which included helping those around them who had also lost everything. 2 years later, they decided to take a holiday in Europe. Horatio was delayed by some last-minute business, and so sent his wife and 4 girls on ahead on a ship bound for Europe, saying he would join them in a few days. However, on November 22nd, a collision with another shipping vessel mid-ocean saw 226 people drown and die within 12 minutes, including his 4 girls. Anna somehow survived and was rescued. Expecting to receive a telegram to let him know they'd arrived safe, she sent one that read very simply, "Saved alone. What shall I do?" Horatio set sail for Europe to get his wife and bring her home. As the ship sailed through the area where the tragedy had happened, which saw the death of his children, words welled up from somewhere deep in his heart. And over the years, it has become an immensely popular hymn. You can find it on YouTube. Some recordings are better than others, of course. There's a particularly good one on Celtic praise and worship, recorded in Scotland last year. It's linked with a song called I Exalt Thee. If you follow me on Facebook, you may have already heard the song in the past few days because I have been thinking about it. Here's the first verse and chorus, the words. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul, it is well with my soul, it is well with my soul. It was an incredible declaration of faith by Horatio Spafford. In the face of appalling tragedy and personal loss, he affirmed his faith in the love and goodness of God. And we are invited in our own lives to trust also that when forces greater than we are, like the microscopic COVID-19 virus and its emerging variants, either threaten to tear our world apart or actually do tear our world apart, in the midst of the disaster, God's voice, if we listen, can be discerned and heard. He is present within the worst of things that can happen to us. This is the message of Christmas, the incarnation, the epiphany, and the baptism of Jesus. That God is really there within all that happens, right in the middle of it all, with us. After Jesus surfaces from the cold waters of the River Jordan, God's voice, the story goes, is heard again on the earth. Some just hear thunder. But this time not a voice that convulses or shatters, but a voice of love imparting dignity, assurance and status. And when we too are baptized, the same words are spoken to us, of us. You are my beloved child. And it is by trust and faith that we hear those words and believe them to be true, and which we can affirm in the face of whatever happens to us. It is only by faith that we hear God's voice of love, and not merely thunder. So may the Lord this day give peace to us, his people, and help us truly believe, like Horatio Spafford, and indeed the wonderful Julian of Norwich, that all shall be well, by faith all shall be well, and in hope all manner of things shall be well.